Thank you, Larry. I mentioned that Judy wanted to, and would like her to also talk about the phone company. We have a panel coming up at the end of the month or whenever it is on businesses, and for some reason we didn't get Judy on there. So, but that company was very important to Copake, the phone company, and so let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Okay. I will talk about the early stage of Copake Telephone Company rather than later on. And if I forgot something, maybe one of my sisters would chime in and say, it's this, it's that. Anyway, let's see, where do I want to start? I guess I'll start with my grandfather. My grandfather's name was John D. Ackley, and he was a very interesting man, a very intelligent man, a very quiet man as I remember him. I never saw him in anything but a suit and a vest and a tie. And anyway, this individual, he was born and raised in New Milford, New Canaan, or New Milford, New Preston area of Connecticut. He went to Yale. He thought he would like to become a doctor, but I think at the time it was quite expensive. So he graduated with a degree in business and went to work in New York City for a short period of time for an insurance company that he hated. So anyway, I'm in the process of trying to research the in-betweens here, so this is just going to be a short bio on how he got to Mississippi and came back to start with some investors at the Copake Telephone Company. Anyway, he was hired by AT&T, and this was back in somewhere around 1904, 5. He went to Biloxi, and Biloxi, Mississippi, maybe some of you know, was not the best place on earth. There were a lot of, it was right after the Civil War, actually, and it was the time of restoration, and there was a lot of I don't know, unsavory people, let's put it that way.
Judy, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think because we're going to run out of time,
Oh, okay.
I wonder if we could cut forward to the fact that eventually your grandfather comes
Yes.
to Copake, and where does he go? Where is the early phone company located?
Okay, the phone company were early stages of Copake. The original phone company was located where the pond is, or whatever the name of
Restaurant?
it is now. You know it as Roots, I just know it as, it's a way to Ancramdale, and in Drowned Lands area. And they discovered that there was a phone, somebody discovered, I don't know who discovered it was a phone company, when they were taking the pond apart to create a restaurant, and they found tons of inside wire, all structured, probably set up where they had a bank of areas where somebody would sit and they, plug in for a magneto system. Anyway, long story short, my grandfather and some investors started Copake Telephone Company. I'm not certain of the date, I don't remember, but it was probably around 1910, somewhere around there. Anyway, the original company was in a house where the bank, what is it? Bank of Greene County?
Yeah.
Bank of Greene County is now. So, phone company was on one side, and the other side our great-grandmother lived in for a period of time, and then someone else. The business office was downstairs. I mean, it wasn't a beautiful place, and then upstairs was the most fascinating because that's where the operators would sit. And it was all an old magneto system whereby you crank the phone and the operator would, if you were in your house, you crank the phone and you'd say, operator please, and Clarissa Gettner would come on, or Merle Earl, or I don't know, I've forgotten some of them now. But there they were. And they always knew where everyone was. And they always, I can recall a number of times when somebody would call our house. Oh, and I need to back up here because my father and my grandfather were officers in this company, and we're flipping around. I'm not giving you a whole big story. I'm just, you haven't got a lot of time. Anyway,
You got calls in the house.
pardon me?
When somebody had a problem with their phone, where did they call?
Okay, well, when someone had a problem with their phone, and let's just talk about one other thing first, private lines versus party lines. A lot of people had party lines, and you could have up to 10 people on a line. Everybody listened in, everybody knew everybody else's business. Except for my family. My father had a private line, my grandparents had a private line. And that was a necessary thing because they were constantly getting phone calls. There wasn't a PR division who took care of all these, irate customers after a storm, to lose your power and whatever. But anyway, they would call my dad, or they would call, very rarely they'd call my grandfather. But if a call came in and there was something the matter with your telephone, I can remember my father would call Tito Loss, and Tito would dispatch whomever had to go out and fix a line. So, anything else?
Well, we don't want to wrap up without finding out, how was it that you came to know all the roads and streets in Copake?
Oh, well, I had, one summer, I remember my father must have been about 13 or 14 years old. And my father brought Jimmy Bloss, Tommy Bloss, Karen Mays, and myself into, I don't know, we were in the room somewhere, and he said, now, I wonder if you kids would like a summer job. And of course we said, well, yes, but we're a little skeptical. Who wants to sit there and shuffle paper tickets all day? So that wasn't the case. He said, we are going to loan you a telephone company truck. It was a pickup. It belonged to the telephone company. Jim Bloss had a license. So 2 summers in a row, 4 or 5 of us were privileged enough to go to Pine Plains, Copake, Hillsdale, Ankrum, I think Millerton, and deliver telephone directories. And we got to know every single road, back road or whatever that there was. And I will never forget that job. It was one of the best telephone company jobs I ever had.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to take some questions now. So, raise your hand if you have a question. In the back.